So some pretty groundbreaking roster changes came out yesterday, and some ones I'm rather interested in because I do think they are good players that some of these teams are picking up. And I've even, by the way, I'm just gonna toot my own horn here. I called some of them. I literally called one of them directly. Um, but yeah, let's just get right into it. I think obviously the ones that people are going to care about the most is Heroic Unveil Martinezsa and Heroic Complete Roster with Brollan. Um, I like both these moves. I think both these moves are good. I think Martinezsa is definitely an upgrade over Youngstar, who was opping for the team, right? Youngster, I think, did a commendable job considering he was, he's not an awper. He basically just had to step in even after being benched for susp. Um, and then they pick up Martinezsa, who Martinezsa, if you don't know, has been farming in tier 2 for quite a while. Martinezsa has been very good for this General Mate squad. I mentioned last time he was last time he was with an international roster was with 9C, and that didn't go too well. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how well it's gonna do in an English roster, but if Martinezsa can even be like 90% of what he is in Gentlemates, then Heroic got a pretty good pickup. Like I think Martinezsa, happy he's going to an international team, and I think he's um, a good pickup for about a Heroic tier team because Heroic are like tier 1.5, top at tier 2 at this point, right? And then the other one is Brollan, right? And I'm glad Brollan is going to Heroic instead of playing in Mouse. I think Brollan, while he's been struggling a bit, right? If you want to go to stats, I think he doesn't have the greatest stats for this year. He was also IGLing for this year, right? But I think if you remember back to 2020, 2019, where he was the more aggressive playmaker type player, right? When he was in Fnatic, right? I think some people are not going to remember those days. I remember those days, but I remember those days because I like Brolin. Um, he was rather good, right, at the aggressive playmaker role, and I think that's what he's going to be in this roster, right? The roster now is, roster now is Nilo, Susp, Crizin, Martinezsa, and Brolin. So the way I imagine it's gonna work is Prison and Sosp are gonna be like basically doing the entry work, and they're gonna be setting up Brolin and Nilo during the rounds, right? Brolin is basically gonna be trading either Prison or Sosp, or maybe they give Sosp more late round, right? So Krizen's going to be going first, and then it's going to be Brolin, and Nilo is just going to be off lurking. I have a lot of faith for this Heroic roster. I think these are great pickups, considering where the team is right now. They also removed Tobiz and they brought in Dodo, their academy coach. I think I have no opinions. I don't really have opinions. The Heroic Academy only really had one good player, and that was Stomach. Um, some people are aware of Stomach. Some people know about Stomach. Great stats across both Heroic, I'm pretty sure, projects, Academy projects, and maybe a player I need to talk about. I'm pretty sure he's on 9 right now. But yeah, I don't really know anything about Dodo, but he might be a fine coach. We'll see. FUT bench Lonks, and they announced Xfloud. Some people have been hearing this for a while. This has been a rumor for a while that Xfloud is coming in for Lonks, and Lonks wants to step away. He even hinted at it in a few interviews that he was going to be stepping like he's not going to be in FUT anymore, right? I don't know if that's because of personality clashes or FUT or Lonks just thinks he can be in other teams or he wants to be in other teams. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why Lonks would really risk his career like this. Why wouldn't you just stick with FUT for another season? Just like see how it goes. But looks like he doesn't want to. It's a choice. I don't entirely agree with it, but I do think Xfloud is a good pickup when you've actually been watching Xfloud. Xfloud on Heroic has been their second best player, right, for most of this year, right? I think he was their second best player. Nilo was obviously the star, but in terms of the aggressive openers, he was a very serviceable aggressive opener, even when Heroic's T sides were looking a bit rough, which some people are going to be like, blaming Crizin. I understand. Heroic was a weird situation. I'm not entirely blaming Crizin yet. I'm not giving up hope on Crizin. But yeah, Xcloud was decent during this. And in 2025, he was rather good for most of the year before, like, the second half, right? It was like the first half, he was rather good, right? See, this first half, he was actually incredible for most of it, except these first 3 events, but we don't talk about them, and PGL Bucharest, but we don't talk about that, or PGL Bucharest closed qualifiers. But yeah, I like this move. I think if you have to replace Lonex with an aggressive opener, I think Xfloud is probably the player. He's more experienced than. I don't know if he's more experienced than Lonex, but it's pretty similar. Lonex, I don't know where he's going to go. Maybe to FaZe. Lonex for Jacob. That's kind of an upgrade. That's not kind of an upgrade. That is an upgrade, but we'll see, right? Eternal Fire sign Kavem and Eternal Fire complete roster with Bro. I literally called the Kavem one, did I not? I literally said it in my video that Kavem could get picked up by EF and there'd be a very scary roster, right? And then they complete it with Bro, who was on Energy but got benched. Bro, if you don't remember him, he was a support player on Monty back in the day. He was on Monty for a period, and he was more of a supportive piece there. He was like a role player. I think Bro historically has always been a rather competent player, right? Like it seems like he's very well rounded. I don't think he wanted to necessarily be a star player on Energy. I think he was just forced in those positions because they don't have any firepower outside of Bro for a period of time, right? Until Sonic and Grim really showed up, but even they have kind of. Sonic is weird. Sonic is either God or he's like whatever, right? And Grim just hasn't lived up to the potential. I like these roster changes. Kavem is just an upgrade over Riggin. Bro for Demka, it's hard. I think Bro currently is maybe better, but I think Demka talent-wise might be better. It's hard. They're both about the same though currently. Um, So yeah, I think it's a good roster. EF, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this team break out of tier 2 and make it the tier 1.5 like status, right? I think this team could blow up. This team could go horribly wrong and like things go awfully, but I also have faith that this roster is going to work out together. I don't know. It just seems like there's too much talent on this roster for me to say it's not going to work out. So, yeah. Johnny Speeds bench Freiburg, Knock, and Lekro. If you don't know, Freiburg was their coach, Lekro was their IGL, and Knock is their awper. And this kind of sucks because Jakob is kind of left without a team. Like, they just don't have any, like, they killed their VRS and everything. So, I don't really know how to feel. Like, this kind of sucks for Jakob, who I highlighted in my video. I really like Jakob. But it's kind of sad that another Swedish team have, like, fallen out. Like, I don't think they were that bad. I think, yeah, they had problems, and I think sometimes. I don't think Lekro or Knock was that. I don't know. It's weird. It feels sad for Johnny Speeds. I feel like they should have kept the roster together. I don't think they were that bad. I think in Tier 2, they did their job for the most part, and I kind of wish they got more time, um, even though they've been together for a bit. But it is what it is. It sucks for Tier 2 enjoyers and Swedish fans, right? Saw unveiled new roster. It is literally the original roster minus minus Agil and minus Roman, right? They brought back Story, brought back Ujurx, brought back Muterus, and they picked up Crazy from BC Game. We'll see where this roster is. Muterus is known to get this like more out of these Portuguese player than any other IGL I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how he does some of the stuff he does with Portuguese rosters that he does, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these players aren't super talented. Like, Ujurix is fine and Story's like, they're not great, but they're not bad. Crazy has shown some moments, and I don't know about the last. I know nothing about the last player. Um, we'll see where they are in about like a month or in 3 months from now, right? Because that's typically when we see Muterus does his best work. If he gets a tier 1, gets to a tier 1 tournament, he's usually able to make a deep run and just get some VRS points. But we'll see. K27 signed Clax from Senegal because Fame is no longer with the roster. Fame's loan expired from VP, so he's now back on VP's bench. Clax is in. Clax was pretty decent on Senegal. I thought he was decent considering he was the anchor support player for the team. God, T-side running, Jesus. But yeah, he was like the anchor support player for this Senegal team who had Norway. Result was there for a while, Patsy for a bit. I thought Clax was okay. I don't think he's as good as Fame. I think Fame brings experience and tenureship to the roster. I think Clax is fine, but I don't think it's better than Fame. And the final one is another Tier 2 announcement. Phantom bringing Cedrot. So if you don't know, Phantom have picked up. I think Cedrot is a decent addition. I think he's a Polish player with a decent amount of experience. He was in SAW when they tried to go international first time in 2025, first season. And he was okay there. He wasn't amazing. Azubu was also in that roster with them, funnily enough. He's kind of this aggressive star player within the Polish scene. He is not by far the best Polish player, right? He's okay. I think he has some like X factor. On this roster, they have TMB and Nikodos. They also picked up Nikodos. I don't have it in the thing, but Nikodos is also here. I think this Phantom roster is interesting. I'm going to be keeping an eye out. They're kind of like 9 right now, right? They're kind of like 9. Hold on. Kind of like this squad right now. However, they have Rhyme, and Rhyme, I'm just going to let you know, I am very biased towards this player. I watched one series demo for this player, and I'm already sold. But yeah, they're kind of like 9, but with one more Polish player. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's decent for Tier 2, though. But that's all I have for roster news. By far, Heroic was the most interesting one. I think everybody is more interested in the Heroic roster rumors, or not roster rumors, but roster changes. I think the roster changes are actually really good, considering Heroic financially have been kind of struggling and kind of on an edge for a while. So we'll see how the Heroic roster turns out. If Crizin and Sasp improve as players, which by the way they definitely can, they have definitely played better on other rosters. So I have faith that they can get there. If Brollan can adapt to being an aggressive playmaker again, Nilo continues to develop as he has been, and Martinezsa doesn't struggle in an international roster, Heroic will be a very scary team. Maybe a top 10 team, maybe back to where they were in 2025 before Tenier got sold and Sans and Pius got sold. But we'll see. Let me know.